All right, how's that, everybody?
Woo!
That's how. Thank you for coming here today. I'm pumped up for this one. This is a crystal rail segment with the Brolaws. Deck stars, get trained, get certified. This is exciting stuff. So great intro. I'm excited. So let's get into who we got here today. But the dynamic duo, contractors. You know them, you love them. They're entertainers. They're contractors. It's Dave and Joey from the Brolaws. And so thank you for coming up here again today with us, guys.
You're welcome.
And yeah, we better do some introductions. Maybe better say hi, Dave.
I'm Dave. Joey.
And that's Joey. Yep. And I'll tell you what, you're going to be thoroughly entertained, everybody out there. I know a lot of you are new to this webinar segment, so you're really going to enjoy the Brolaws. There's some of HGTV's finest. They have a podcast. They have a great Instagram page. I'm gonna let them toot their own horn a little bit later. Right now, right now we're going to get into my little segment here and earn my keep. How about that? So what we are going to talk about here real briefly, folks, if you aren't on deckstars.com already, make sure you register to become a Deckstars contractor, because consumers are going to that page looking for the local Deckstar. We need to find certified Deckstars across North America, and this site's bringing consumers to it. So this site is live right now. We're looking for qualified leads. And what we need you to do is to get on deckstars.com, become a Deckstar. Look for that on the side there. You hit the menu bar and you'll see become a Deckstar. We want you to join up, register if you already haven't. And once you've registered, be sure to send us your logo, because we want to add that to your company information. And as you get to know us, you'll know that Regal is about building partnerships. Your business is our business. We know if we help you grow, you're going to help us grow in turn. So we really look forward to that relationship. We really try to marry up with consumers and different projects all across North America. So the opportunities are great for us, and we hope to be able to work with you in the future. So how did the Deckstars program become the Deckstars program? This is partly why. You can see consumers can find us on all these different shows. Now, we don't advertise or spend big dollars with any of these TV shows, but what we do donate product to them, and consumers love it. They see our product and they say, where can we get that? And over the last few years, we continue to grow and grow. Our phone hotline takes a killing from calls. We take tons of emails, and we try to line up contractors from across North America to help install it. But what we needed was certified installers. So that's why we created the Deckstars opportunity. So our goal was purely just to drive leads down to the contractors. We need certified contractors out there that are certified installers of Regal. Because we know if you guys are certified, know how to install, like the Brolaws says, hey, we're not going to have any callbacks due to poor installation. You'll fill out the warranty cards, or give us some pictures for our marketing library as well as your own. But more importantly, you know you're going to be able to install more in less time and make a lot more money. Certification process is real simple. You're attending one of these training modules today, so you're halfway there. If you attend another one, you're a certified Deckstar, and we'll be sending you out a welcome package. And really, there's basically what we need from you is to make sure you have your insurances in place, your registered business, and two things you really want to have anyway is a website and social media. And the social media is one thing. If you're not on Instagram or Facebook, Twitter, any of those, you really need to get on those platforms, because they really help sell your company and your projects. And of course, we'll be sending out a welcome package to you as well. And in that package, we got some wonderful stuff like project planners, some guides. Of course, we got some handhelds, as you see behind me right here. They're perfect little selling tools to take to a client and set it down on their table so they can touch and feel. And when they do that, that helps sell the job. We have sell sheets, brochures, as I mentioned, tons of displays, and ongoing training. If you haven't done already, I keep tooting the horn of this magazine here. It's a fantastic magazine if you're in the deck building business. It's called Deck Specialist. The price is right. It's a free subscription. So just go to deckspecialist.com. Great articles, whether it's about different code changes or about different contractors who are builders, different products that are out there in the deck world. It's a great opportunity to learn and read this article. There's fantastic articles in this magazine. And the North American Deck and Railing Association, NADRA, in other words, go to nadra.org and let them know you saw us here today and that you took part in this training. They'll give you a special deal to join their association. And their association really is kind of like a lobby group. They really help talk to government agencies about different codes out there and try to make it fair for everyone and for the industry. They also have Deck Safety Month, which is very important to be a part of, and that's a great little logo to attach along the side of your business logos. And again, the NADRA logo. The more logos you could put beside your name, it just gives that contractor the credibility that you're a credible contractor with the consumers. So be sure to hit them up, nadra.org. Now, one of the things they also do is the National Deck Competition, which we've been very fortunate to have some of our great ambassadors and deck stars out there win. And Dr. Decks and the Brolaws here, just to name a few, have brought home the hardware. And so this is an opportunity where I think a lot of people should get involved because it's a great chance to promote within your own community that you're an award-winning deck builder. But who wouldn't want to be associated with that? Your customers will. So it's a great opportunity. And we'll partner with you because guess what? The deadline to enter for any decks this past year is November 30th. So if you're thinking about entering your project, make sure you talk to us and we can help you along with that process. So again, it's November 30th. And without further ado, what we're talking about here today and why you've registered is to learn about the frameless glass system that Regal Ideas has called Crystal Rail. It's an amazing, beautiful system, easy to put together, but boy, does it look beautiful, and you can sell this like candy. It's amazing. So there's lots of customers out there who want this, the clear view of the glass, all the irons removed from it, well, 99% of it anyway. And there's also the aluminum bases, which had the LED lighting, which helps illuminate the light. It's just got such a beautiful look to it. And also we have stair glass available. And one other thing with the lighting, there's no hard wiring. It's pretty much plug and play. But without further ado, I'm gonna show a few more pictures, and then I'll let the guys jump in here. But there's a few more pictures that you saw some in the opening, but again, some award-winning shots we have here. They're just again, just fantastic. This is done by Dr. Decks in the Seattle area, and a nighttime view of it, just sensational. And again, I think this is out in Calgary, Alberta. And I got a couple more shots here. This one by the Brolaws, an award-winning deck. And a recent one from Simcoe Decks in Barrie, Ontario. So a lot of great shots here, guys. You've installed quite a few of these now. I'm gonna let you take it away.
All right. Hello. Thank you, Joe Jacqueline. First off, big thank you to Regal. I know Joe talked about how Regal wants to partner with you, and thank you so very much to Regal Ideas for partnering with us for Movember. Last week, they donated $10 for everybody that was on board for the webinar. We had 35 people. They donated $350 to our Movember campaign, and we are so grateful for that. We exceeded our goal. We wanted to raise $1,000. We've raised almost $2,000 now for Movember. So Regal, thank you for being behind us on that.
They've partnered with us from day one from our business. So when they say that they're going to partner with your business, they mean it. And we are a living story of that. So take that to heart and jump on DeckStars. You're taking the first step right now. So jump on it, get a part of Regal Ideas.
All right, so we're going to be walking through crystal rail installation. It's been a long day, so our words sometimes don't make sense, so deal with it. But also, we've done this installation many times. So if we're speeding through something that you need clarification on, or if you have any questions, jump into the message board. As you can see, there's a few people in there that have already been responding to some comments. There are people who work with Regal Ideas, so they know the product inside and out, and they can answer your question, or we can as well if it's something that needs to be explained.
Absolutely. So we will start from the bottom, which is always where we start with these. Not the top.
Blocking. Fastening your crystal rail mounts. Oh my gosh, look at that close-up of that stash. Oh, you're welcome, everybody.
That's awful.
So the blocking on your deck for your Regal pods. This is so important because if you don't block properly, then that pod is not properly secured and you do not have a safe railing system. So let's make sure that you nail this blocking.
Absolutely. This is everything when it comes to all of Regal Ideas systems because they're all surface mount. So you need to use the proper fasteners and, like Dave said, the proper blocking. So these are a few methods that will work. This is the one that we do more often than not. This is a 6x6 pressure treated. So often we'll have offcuts after we do our posts. We'll cut them down to between the joists, put them in place, nail them in there on either side through the joists, and this gives you a sufficient amount of meat to lag down into. So you need at least 6 inches of embedment when you're talking about using a lag screw or a structural screw. We'll get into that in a second. Option 2, this is a vertical block. So this is just a piece of 2x8 cut in between, again, the joist bay, and put in vertically to make sure you have lots of meat to screw down into. Now, this will give you more to fasten into, but you have to be a little bit more precise with the placement of the blocks if you're going to put them in vertically to make sure they line up right underneath the holes that you're screwing down through. Option number 3. This is a double block, and this is for through bolting methods. So they have a washer plate that goes underneath, and then you use carriage bolts to go down through a nut on the bottom, and that's going to secure this whole system in place. This is the preferred mounting method by most building municipalities because you're locking everything together and it cannot go anywhere. It takes a little bit more preparation on your part, but it makes sure that your railing's not going to go anywhere. And finally, just a triple flat block. So this is just 3 pieces of 2x8 on the flat, cut to the same measurement, very similar to the 6x6 setup. But you can block this through, and it gives you lots of room to move the post around, and it's always going to have something to fasten down into.
So one side note back to this little washer plate method. The first time we did crystal rail, we used those washer plates, and something that we didn't take into account was a joist. So if you are using the washer plate method, you want to mark out roughly where your pods are going to be sitting, your mounts are going to be sitting, so that you, if it is landing on a joist, then you can cut that joist back and frame accordingly to be able to give yourself space for that. Because obviously you can't cut this in half and put it on either side of the joist. It's no longer going to be doing what it's supposed to do. So making sure if you are doing that method that you plan out properly for it. Now, for all those other ones, securing your mount, you're going to want to use a 6-inch lag screw or lag bolt.
Is there a lag bolt down there? Maybe, maybe not. The point being, 6 inches is the number you are looking for. So this is a structural lag screw. These are the lag bolts. These are both available through Regal Ideas. The structural lag screws are through the Urban Rail line. Beautiful packaging right there. So they have these available for you so you can get your fasteners with the system as well. You are not going to use these lag screws. These are the 2 1/4 wall mount bracket lags. These are meant to screw a wall mount bracket into a post sideways, never vertically. These don't hold anything down vertically. Never use them in this direction, only this direction. 6-inch screws are your minimum. Check with your local municipality when you apply for the permit. See which way they would like you to fasten them. Regal Ideas has all your engineering reports that you need. So you just have to email them. They'll send all of those over to you, and you can send those into your township, and then just talk to your building inspector. See which method they would like you to use so that everything is on the up and up.
Or don't ask them and just use the lag screws and hope that it's fine.
That's what we do, and we've been questioned on it. So go that route.
All right, so
what comes in your mounting?
So when you get your mounting bracket, when you open it up, there's a few things that you want to make sure you do. In the flaps, the little edges, there are these clear cover plates. You want to make sure that you set these aside somewhere safe so you don't lose them. There's two, one for each side of the mounting pod. And then also you've got your little gaskets in there and a ring plate on the bottom. So whenever I'm starting a install, I have my box that these all came in, the bigger box, and I start opening up each of these packages and I start setting all of these aside in there. You don't want to end up at the end of the project finding out that your laborer accidentally threw them out because he thought it was just garbage or it was stuck in the packaging. You want to make sure that you save these and have them for the end of the project. So make sure you set them all aside.
Side note, Rod, they can be galvanized. I believe these are galvanized. You can correct me if I'm wrong. The actual lag bolts are galvanized, so they don't need to be stainless steel. They can be galvanized. The mounting brackets are aluminum, so you don't have to worry about a chemical reaction there. So,
should we go over the mount a little bit more?
I think we should, Dave.
Let's go over this little mounting bracket a little more thoroughly so you can see. So those little clear cover plates go over here and they cover the set screws. So there's two set screws on each side, and those set screws, if I can show you an angle, go through to the inside, and that's what's going to end up pinching the gasket along the glass to lock everything in place.
There are 4 holes here because if you have to go downstairs, this will have an angled piece in the middle. So rather than being flat, it'll go up on an angle, and then your set screw will be in one of these holes. Rather than the top and bottom, you'll have a set screw here to be able to pinch that gasket.
So as well, your bracket mount comes with a light inside there. That is the LED light. There isn't a non-light version. If you're getting the pod, it comes with the light. The light has a cord that comes down the bottom. Under here, there's a little leveling plate, but also if you take that off, this Allen key fits.
That worked really well.
Then you can see inside there, there's a nice little angled piece, and that is your light itself. So there's a little disconnect. If you need to switch it out, you can switch it out. You don't have to switch out the entire thing or remove the whole housing. Now put this back inside there. Be right back.
I'll address that question as well. Ernie answered it, but Chris asked, how about black pods? This is a question that we get, and it is a valid and great question. What we've noticed is with the satin finish is these mounting brackets tend to disappear a lot better. Dr. Dex is one of the other ambassadors, and one of the first projects he did, he actually went and got all of his mounting brackets powder coated in black, and he preferred the satin. Once he had it installed, he found that once they were painted black, they stuck out more. The idea with this rail being crystal rail is that there's nothing between you and the view. You want it to blend as much as possible, and this satin finish does just that. It kind of disappears with the landscape, where once you paint them black, they're going to stick out more. So I get it from an aesthetic point of view. If you have black finishes on the house, they could tie in with that. But we found that more often than not, the satin finish is what people are going to lean to in order to have it kind of blend into the background. So that's the reasoning behind that. But as Ernie said, they're looking into more finishes down the road as well, just to give more options for people. But for now, it is just the satin finish. And as far as we're concerned, that works just fine. So that is your mounting bracket. So we've covered lagging down. Measuring it out. So as we already discussed, you have your blocking methods, and there's a lot of setup before you get to the finishing portion of your deck. You want to make sure that your blocking is in the appropriate spots for these mounting brackets. So when we're in the framing stage, we'll actually go around a rim board of our deck, and we'll mark out roughly where these mounting brackets are going to be at the framing stage. That way we know which joist bays we have to block. As we said, we usually use the 6x6 and the lag screws. That way we can just do blocking in all those areas, and we know we have something to fasten down into. Your other option is you can just block the entire perimeter of your deck, so that way you can put the mounting brackets wherever you want. But yeah, if you don't want to go through that hassle, and you can just mark them out on your rim board, know where you're going to put them, and then do your decking, and then you're ready to go.
So let's go into the corner here. So we've mounted, or with this model that we're doing here, we've set the mounting pods in about 3.5 inches to the center of the pod. So that way it's going to give us enough room on our border piece here to fit. So on the corner, you can see we've kind of drawn out where the glass will go. You don't want to take those edges of the glass to each other. So you want to make sure that you're setting it back an appropriate amount for the mounting clip. Because at the end of the project, you're going to be putting on these clips that hold and secure the glass to one another. So you want to make sure that you leave enough space for that to be able to fit into your corner.
It's a minimum of 1.5 inches from glass to glass, a maximum of 3 7/8. So you can't be greater than 3 7/8. It's the same as regular deck rail spacing, just to make sure that a baby's head doesn't jam its way through there. So 1.5 inches to 3 7/8 is what you're aiming for. Might be 4 inches, but I always say 3 7/8. So why not be safe and sorry?
So on our deck here, we've measured in our amount on that side. We do the same on this side, and then we can measure our length across. I'm holding it right at the line. Oh gosh, I'm gonna go through the pods. All right.
We had 63.5 inches.
So when you have your distance, then you can pull out your handy dandy binder.
This is backwards.
Find your crystal rail section.
Boop, 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 boop.
And you'll see that the glass comes in specific sizes.
24-inch all the way up to 60-inch in 6-inch increments is crystal rail. So that's where a little bit of planning comes into play and why we like to mark it out at the framing stage. That way we know we have the ability to use the stock size glasses.
So we're going to be using 2 30-inch pieces of glass for our project here. That'll give us space between and spaces on the edges.
So again, you got to make sure that you have the minimum of 1.5 inches between 2 glass sections as well. So if they're coming together on the flat, they can't be touching. They can't be greater than 4 inches apart. Make sure they're kind of in that 2-inch wheelhouse is what we aim for.
A couple things you can do here. You can either be very specific with your design when you're laying it out and placing your order, or you can make an order for your pods, your mounting brackets, and have all of them that you'll need for a rough amount of glass. Once you have your deck built, you have the decking down, then you can go around and measure it out to be more specific with your measurements. And Regal carries stock of all of these pieces of glass, so it's not like you're going to be waiting a crazy long time between it. So that way you can be a little bit more specific with your glass order.
Absolutely. So we will take that measurement. We know what our glass sizes are. Those mounting brackets you want to set between 8 and 14 inches in from the edge of the glass to the center of the mounting bracket. We typically stick to around the 8 to 10 inch mark. The reason they say 8 to 14 is because the bigger the glass gets, you do want to bring them in slightly farther, and that's for good light dispersion around the edges of the glass. So the LED actually cascades through the glass and out. So if you get into the 60-inch, the 54 to 60-inch pieces of glass, it's a good idea to bring those in slightly closer to the center to let that light go right through the glass.
You want to zoom in over here?
Zoom in.
So I'm going to show you how, once you've found where you're going to be mounting this, you've marked the center of it. You want to measure out 1 7/8 inches from either side, and that's going to line you up with your holes that you're going to be drilling. So you've got your wire for your LED light that you need to make sure that you drill through too. I like drilling this through right near the end of your mounting bracket. So that way it goes through, you pull it down, and you can see it right there. Something that we did on one of our earlier installs in life that we learned from was making sure that that wire does not get pinched. We weren't paying enough attention. We were speeding through. When we mounted this down to the deck, it pinched that wire. And at the end of the day, we were trying to turn the lights on and it wasn't coming on. And that was our problem. We had pinched and severed that connection, so we needed to switch that out. So make sure that wire does not get pinched. It should be free floating. You've got it there, and when this goes on at the end, it's going to cover that hole and you won't see it there.
Beautiful. So you've marked out where your pod can land. You know where the corners and the holes are. Now here's your next quick tip.
Wait, let me put this one in. I didn't put this one down. I'm sorry.
Well, your next quick tip for when it comes to actually mounting the pod when the decking is complete, you are mounting the brackets in place to accept the glass. Once you set them in there, don't just screw them down in place. Take your screws down, but leave them a little bit above so that the mounting bracket's a little bit loose. Then you can take either a bottom rail from a Regal railing system, maybe you have it kicking around in your shop, or what we like to do, because we're typically, when we're mounting crystal rail, it's onto a PVC or a composite deck. So we will take some offcuts. We will cut those offcuts to the length of our glass pieces. And then rip them in half. So that PVC or composite product is usually about an inch thick. Another option here is a picket. Now, the reason why I'm saying all this is you're going to lay that into the mounting brackets before you screw them down to help line them up.
So you want these to be in line with one another. Another mistake we once made in one of our earlier installs in life was we didn't do this. And if your mounting brackets are kicked from one another slightly, when you try to put that piece of glass in, you're going to be fighting yourself. You're going to be fighting the gaskets inside there. The glass isn't going to want to go down. So by using a piece of scrap, something that you can get in there, you're going to hold it tight to both sides. A piece of 5/4 board fits perfect into there. A piece of PVC decking fits perfect. Hold it in there and fasten down your piece. Now you know that they're in line. Your glass is going to slide right in.
Moving right along. So yeah, why we say we like to use 5/4 board, PVC or composite. As I say, we can cut that to the width of all of our pieces of glass. So on this last project that we just installed it on, we just had a bunch of offcuts that worked out to be 30 inches, 36, 48, and we were able to cut pieces to represent every piece of glass that we were putting on that deck. That way we can cut them, we can mark the 8 inches in, and you can actually push them down into the brackets, and now you can walk around as if you're holding the piece of glass. Set them in place all the way around the deck, so we basically had a good image of exactly what our layout was going to be without having to do it with the glass in place. It would allow us to get everything nice and straight, everything was lined up, and then we just mounted down our brackets.
You want to bring it in here?
We'd
We
love
talked
to.
about the washer plate method, but well, I've got this one here. I'll show you actually fastening it. On this one, you want to make sure that the cord is not going to get pinched as well, right? So where it's come through, you feed it through that middle hole, and then your washer plate goes on. You don't need a washer at the top here. You can see it's just the bolt at the top. And then your carriage bolt goes through, nut on the bottom. 4 of those.
Easy peasy.
Tighten that up.
So when we drilled that hole, we still did it out on this edge, and we just went down on a slight angle towards the center of the mounting bracket. So like Dave said, we made sure that we weren't going to get pinched underneath. So just drill it down on an angle towards the middle so that you come out in this giant hole here.
Learn from our mistakes. We made them once and we didn't make them again.
It's true. Most of these mistakes were made on our first install. Just saying, we were the first ones in Canada to install crystal rail.
Kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. Not a huge deal, but a little bit of a big deal. So those screw down nice and easy. Once you have them in place, lock it in. We're locked and loaded.
So before you carry on to put your glass in, let's talk about hooking up your LED system, because I always like to make sure that all my lights are working before I put the glass in. Another mistake we made, we put all of our glass in. We made all the mistakes.
We had a lot of mistakes in that first rail. But
you put all the glass in, you turn it on, you're all excited, and something's not working, and then you got to be taking glass out. So let's do this step here before you've put your glass in. In your box, you've got the LED remote and the controller. Ow, I pinched it. Open it up, and it looks something like that. This is the RF controller, which responds with the remote control.
here's your remote control. Simple on and off, and now it's on the ground. Why, thank you. On and off. Very simple, and it comes with a little keychain hook so that you can hook it somewhere on the job site.
And your transformer itself, you've got a regular plug end, and then this is the special plug and play that will connect to everything. So you take your transformer, plug your RF controller into it. There's only one way this goes together, and if it doesn't go together easy, it means you're trying to force it and fight it.
It's got one flat section of that circle, so like Dave said, should go in nice and easy. Don't bend the prongs. Go for it. As Dave bends the prongs. It's also got a screw cap to make it waterproof.
Literally has arrows.
It's true.
Literally has
If you
arrows.
screw this up, it's your fault, not Regal's. So that screws on, protects that connection. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth coming soon in 2021.
That is a goddamn lie, Andrew. How many times are you going to tell me Bluetooth is coming? I want it.
We're excited for it.
Very
And
excited.
we feel like we've been teased by it for a long
Because
time.
Andrew's told us it's like, because he tells us things before everybody else gets to know.
True. We shouldn't be in the know.
We
shouldn't
shouldn't.
have told us at all.
I'm not good with information.
Absolutely. Next thing you will need is the CRDT. You need one of these per section of glass. So this has your two connections.
I got it open here.
Oh, you got one open already. So it has your lead and your other end to continue on that lead, and then it has two connections that sit up, and that is what your mounting bracket wire connects down into. So you need one of these per section. That controller system that Dave brought out with the transformer, that will do 20 sections of glass. So 40 mounting brackets in total, 20 sections of glass. Once you get beyond that point, or beyond that amount of sections of glass, you just need another transformer, and then you can sync up the remotes. We'll get into that later.
Do you want to bring the people down here, Joe?
Coming in.
There's a real long cord, by the way, on the transformer. So on our last install, I was able to leave the cord up where the outlet was on the house, bring it underneath the deck board, underneath the deck. It was a second-story deck, and staple that wire all the way across to the other side to where I was going to be starting my run. So it's awesome that there's very long length there. So now you're going from your RF controller to your first section of light. Again, there's arrows, there's prongs. There's only one way that this is going to fit into itself. So be gentle and kind.
Be kind to it. That's the first CRDT that he's connecting that into.
I really like these little screw caps. You know, you've got a great waterproof seal, as well as you know that you've made that connection properly. So that goes there. Then the little one goes to your light. This one is slightly more difficult, but also really easy.
And that's an oxymoron.
I said that in case I struggled with it,
Ah,
but it
very
went
good.
together quite well.
It usually goes together quite well. He struggles with it a little bit.
Struggle with most things.
It's the mustache.
So now I've connected that one. I've connected both lights to this strand. Now I'm going to take the next one, and it's just a daisy chain that loops along. Loopin' Louie.
This is what we mean when we say plug and play. You do not need an electrician to do this. If you're the contractor, you can do it yourself. If you're the homeowner, you can do it yourself. You're plugging, and then you're playing with your lights. Plug and play.
Playing with my
It's
lines.
oh dear. The mustache makes
so
it so
creepy.
much worse. Like that wasn't even dirty. And the mustache made it dirty. That's awful. Anyways, moving right along.
Wait, bring them back.
I know. I'm
Let's
gonna
see
trim. I wanted to come get the
I'm
remote.
just showing at the end of your run.
Okay, very good. We'll come back.
So on each of these loops that you're lighting together with, there's a end plug. So when you're going along, you've got to take that out. But when you're at the end of your run, you leave it in, and it just seals that connection.
It's just a cap that goes on to the end.
All right, Joe, we should have tested this before we got on here, but let's see if it lights up.
Is this even the right remote? What a couple of donkeys. Check their lighting. Frequencies. So I'll go through that while we look for the remote that works. So these little remotes, especially when you're having to put together multiple systems. Oh, there you go. If you find that it's controlling some of the lights but not the other lights, you need to sync up the frequency between your RF controllers and the remote that you're using. So you hold the on and off buttons, and then the lights will all blink. So do that until all the lights are blinking on all of your mounting brackets. That way you know you have everything synced up to the same remote, and then you can turn it on and off. This also changes the frequency in case you have a neighbor that has a crystal rail system as well, and you find that your remote is controlling their lighting. So if that's the case, again, hold the on and off button, switch the frequency on your lighting so that your remote doesn't control your neighbors.
Have you ever wondered what the inside of your remote looks like? Well, it looks like this. Little circuit board, and right here is where the battery goes. So I've got
Was there no battery?
the battery here.
Well, that's awkward. The battery comes up. Also, make sure you put your battery in your remote. Otherwise, you look like an idiot, like these guys.
No, this is just life.
That's true. We meant to do that. That's what's up.
Positive.
Positive.
Slides into positive. This way, not that way.
Correct.
Boop. Click and you close it. And your buttons should be lighting up now. There's a little light there.
LED light tells
Make
you it's
sure
working.
that you're working.
Oh, and they're on, folks.
Just like I planned it.
Still got it. So, like we say, we like to do that while we're installing. So now as we go along, we will continue to just plug them in and make sure everything's working as we install. It's LED, so you do not have to worry about it being powered up while you're working with it. It will not shock you. If it does, it'll just kind of feel warm, which kind of sounds nice this time of year. But anyways.
I'll turn it off so we can save the video.
Absolutely.
We're ready to do our glass now, right?
We were, Dave, and we did this. Another mistake that the Brolaws made when they first did this system. They put in all of their glass, leveled it all up. It was looking banging. And then we looked down and realized we didn't put our base cover plates on.
Bum, bum, bum.
These can't go on once the glass is in, folks. So, once you have your pod in, it is mounted down, make sure you put your base cover plates onto each of them. Probably the easiest part of the process, made much more difficult while trying to do after the fact. So, make sure you put those on, and then there are a couple of ways to put your glass into place. Now, like we said, using a piece of PVC, a picket, or whatever to make sure that your mounting brackets are lined up is the biggest key into making sure that that glass is going to slide down nice and easy. This is 10 mil tempered glass. It is heavy. These are only 30-inch wide pieces, so one guy is able to move it by himself. But as you're getting into those larger pieces of glass, please make sure you have two people carrying and lifting and maneuvering it. If you haven't worked with tempered glass before, the edges are the fragile portions of this glass. Tempered glass is full of energy. So if you tap one of those edges on something hard like concrete or a rock, it will burst into a billion pieces. So please make sure you're very careful when working with the tempered glass.
These are a lot heavier than the Regal ones.
10 mil. So again, 10 mil glass. There's a little stamp on the bottom that Dave's trying to show you.
Little stamp. Look at
Says
those
Regal.
chins. Oh, God. There's so many chins.
All the chins. So if there's ever an issue with your system, the first thing that an inspector is going to look for is that little stamp on the bottom corner, because that means you use the proper glass on your system. We have had people try to use separate glass because they know a guy and they can get a good deal, but this is very special glass. It's a very specific size, and they've removed a certain amount of iron to let the light cascade through it. Use the glass that's meant for the system. I'm going to say that again later on just to drill it into your head. So, let's put a piece of glass in, shall we?
I can't do that all by myself.
That's why I'm bringing them over.
Okay.
So that they
Got
can
a good view.
I want to see. Oh, yeah, there's the view. That's what I was looking for.
Something we've done in the past, but we haven't found that we need so much anymore. We used to put some Windex on the gaskets just to help it slide in a little easier. But that was probably with like the first gen crystal rail, where now I've noticed that it slides in quite well. So what you're going to want to do, Joey's got one mounting bracket there. I'm going to have the other one. And I'm going to kind of hold the gaskets like this in the bracket so that you hold it up a little bit and spread open. So that way you can slide the glass in. Joey's got one side. I got the other side. Up, down.
Slides down into place. You still have a little bit of adjustment with these gaskets. Make sure they're lined up nice and straight. But it is just that easy to put your glass in place. Now there's just some adjustments that need to happen.
Once your glass is in place, those set screws that I showed you in the beginning, you can tighten those with an Allen key. So if you want to, you can work in tandem with somebody, have somebody with an Allen key on the other side, and you can tighten those in together just to snug. You don't need to over torque these. You're just getting the glass nice and snug inside there. So I'm going to tighten one side in.
You have the remote? Yeah.
I'm going to tighten the other side in.
A good way to tell if you are nice and snug, this is kind of
Oh,
hard
right
to
here, right
see
here, right here.
on a
Right
camera.
here, right here, right here, right here.
So with the lights on, as you snug that gasket up against the glass, you'll actually see the light.
You see it. They saw it.
Oh, you saw it.
I'm gonna loosen it off. See?
yeah.
Oh, see? No.
Watch the
oh,
gasket,
Watch it.
folks.
Watch it. Watch it go. Oh yeah.
Perfect. So that lets you know that you are nice and snug up against the glass. The light will now cascade properly through the glass. And those little adjustments are going to help you to make sure that you're nice and level at the top. So just do yourself a favor, throw a level on your first one to make sure that it's nice and pretty. Typically, you're going to be having your first section up against a post or the house as well. So make sure that one's nice and level. And then you're just working your way from there. You can do your little adjustments to make sure that it's pretty damn close to perfect. And then your clips, which are the last step, are going to take the rest of it for you. But we'll put in your other section. You could show them the other way too with just one of them in.
Sure.
That's an option. Another option.
Because I think I did it so that I could do it solo.
Yeah, doing it solo.
It's not as fun because playing with friends is more fun. Again, something that's a small little detail, but I always look for the little Regal logo on the glass and make sure it's in the same spot as the other piece of glass. It's just a little detail that goes a long way. So I'm gonna swing it around this way. Woohoo!
Glad that did
Strong glass.
It is strong glass.
Andrew told us that you can stand on a sheet of glass. I haven't tried it yet. Maybe we should try it today.
That's for the 6 mil too.
But it sounds terrifying.
Oh, it does. If you span this, you can jump on the middle of it. I don't know if we want to try that live. I'll think about it. Get back to me. But either way. So what we've done here is we've just got one of the gaskets in place rather than having both of them in there. That way Dave can lift it in, drop it in by himself or himself. For those of you who are better at grammar. And then you can just push down the gasket on the other side. You may still need to lift up this gasket to make that a little easier to drop in. But either way, for those smaller pieces of glass, if you're on site by yourself and you don't have any huge sections, you can drop these in on your own. Just put one side in, drop the glass in, slide the other one down, wiggle it around a little bit.
Do not try this with a 60-inch piece, though.
No, the 60-inch 10 mil is very heavy, so do not try that on your own. Pretty please. It will end in catastrophe.
Did you tell the people about the spacing between the glass?
We did. We talked about it, minimum 1.5 inches.
This is why it's important. So you can see in these brackets that will be going in, that little space between there. You want to make sure that your glass is far enough away that it's not touching that.
So we like to say 1.5 inches minimum, 4 inch, no bigger than 4 inches is your
I
code.
think it's 1.25 inches tight,
It's super tight.
but you don't want it to be that tight to the glass. You want to have a little bit of space.
1.5 inches. Give yourself some breathing room. So like we say, we usually aim for 2 inches. We find that aesthetically pleasing, and it's an easy number for math. So we shoot for 2 inches between the glass, between 2 and 3. So once you have your set screws all set, they're nice and snug, you're happy with that. Your last piece of the puzzle is going to be the clips.
Sorry, I'm just passing these bottom set screws. Oh, did you just first, Joey?
Yep. So this is your clip. You'll see there is a plastic portion on one side. So this is all aluminum and it's got the 2 holes. The holes are going to face up. We're going to tell you why in a second, but your holes face up. And then this section here is to kind of soften the impact as you're putting this down over top of the edge. This is the scariest part of the process for those of you who are going to do this for the first time, because you do want to get a rubber mallet to be able to knock this down from the top. So it's very counterintuitive to the fact that you need to be gentle with the edges of tempered glass, but we assure you, if you're nice and gentle with it and you work it down, it will not shatter. So make sure you have it faced properly. Get yourself a rubber mallet. We'll scan up to Dave a little.
You told them about the
Holes
which way?
facing up.
Okay. And then did you tell them about the Allen
Oh,
key
I
at the
didn't
bottom?
talk. I didn't talk about the Allen key, Dave.
So on the bottom side, there's an Allen key hole there, so you can unscrew that to separate them. So once they're epoxied to the glass, if you ever need to replace one for some reason, you can take it apart that way.
Spoiler alert, we're going to put epoxy in it.
Lined up. Just a little tap, tap, taparoo.
That's all it takes. So you want to set that in place. That's the technical way of doing it. Very good. We like to set that 2 inches down from the top of the glass to the top of the clip. That's where we like to put them. There is a number that's on the packaging as to where you want to put it, but that's where we like to put it, just to let you know. So once you have that set into place,
Also, take your time. Something little, but they can be tilted when you put them on. So this is an expensive glass railing that you're going to be putting on for a client. So you've charged them a lot of money for it. Put the time into it to make sure you line these up. Put a little torpedo level on them if you really want to get thirsty.
hey, break at the laser level if you really want to. Whew, now we're getting real.
Okay, that's a little overboard. They didn't
Sorry.
pay that much for it.
I'll never say that again.
Oh, and then finishing touches to
Oh, hey, hold on.
do that. Do your epoxy.
You have that in place. It's time to epoxy. So you have an applicator gun, and then you have a 2-part epoxy. So these are going to feed into the gun, and then these little needles are going to fit into those little holes, which we made sure that we faced up, and then you squeeze the epoxy in from the top, and that is going to harden and allow that clip to secure itself to the glass. These are required for the system. It's what makes it a complete glass railing system. Without them, it's just a bunch of pieces of glass sitting on a deck. It needs these clips in order to be qualified as a railing system.
Final piece of the puzzle, the pieces that you didn't lose.
Well done. You did it. You didn't lose those pieces.
So you can see they've got the 2 little there, go to there, and you can take a little rubber mallet if you feel so inclined. Tap that in like that.
Finishes off the system beautifully.
And yes, those can pop back off. Just be very careful with it so you don't snap it because it is just a piece of
Plastic.
Andrew will probably say it's made of something more fancier than plastic.
Sure. Dave also showed you that little set screw earlier that's in the side. That is also an adjustment for the tilt on this. So if you're doing this maybe on a deck that was already existing, so you aren't responsible for the fact that they didn't build it very level, or there are humps in the deck, or you're doing this on maybe concrete, so there is some differences between the mounting brackets, you can adjust the heights to make sure that the top of your glass runs nice and true all the way across. So you have adjustments up and down, and then with the, oh wow, you just jumped right into the spoiler alert. That's beautiful. No, it's fine. It looked great. I was just talking and my head was in the way. So this is what you're selling here, folks. This is the beauty of the system. The light running right through the glass, lights up the whole perimeter of the deck. You can actually see, let's tilt up here. Look at that light flying through the glass. So these are, I think, 12-foot ceilings we have in our shop here, and that light has no problem going right all the way up through and lighting up the ceiling. So it's an absolutely stunning system. This is the selling feature. We've had people ask, hey, can I get the mounting brackets without the built-in LED? No, you cannot. It comes, each of the brackets comes with its own LED, and that is why. It's a beautiful system at night. It's such an easy sell once a client sees a picture of it because it is a truly magnificent system.
Yeah. And as far as selling this product, I like to show clients the pictures. So Regal has put in a ton of money into marketing. They have a bunch of beautiful pictures and resources on their website to be able to use. So show your client a picture of a fully finished deck in Crystal Rail. Don't take one of the mounting brackets to show them, hey, would you like this new Crystal Rail? If they're just looking at that, they don't understand the full picture of what they're getting. So show them the night shots, show them the day shots so that they can truly appreciate what the railing system has.
And Rob, if you were looking closely, I'm pretty sure we were the ones who installed that crystal rail and built that deck on Brian Inc.
Oh yeah, it
Also
was.
the crystal
It
rail
aired
too.
in the States. That's right. No,
You
Bolt-
got way too excited.
No, because I didn't realize that he was in the States. I think because we're in Canada, only Canadians watch us.
True.
But Brian Bulmer messaged me yesterday. I didn't tell you
Ah,
because it was airing in the States. He said,
Well,
"Hey,
there
look
you
at you boys. You're in the States now."
we made it to America. Way to go, bro.
I don't know if we want to.
Hey, come on now. He can leave. But yeah, it's a truly beautiful system, and it's so easy to install. You guys just saw how quickly we did that. That was what, the better part of 35 minutes that we installed these two pieces of glass, and that was talking our way through every single step. So once you get your hands on the system, once you do a project, all the next ones go together that much faster. Once you know how to put the mounting brackets in place, slam it together, drop the glass in place, and it goes together so quickly. So for an expensive system that you can sell at a premium, you can actually get it done that much faster.
Indubitably.
That's the beauty of Regal that we always like to say. As their products get more premium, they actually become easier to install. So right from the bottom level all the way up to the top, they slowly get easier to install, which is better for the contractor, and the client is getting a beautiful product. So everybody wins. We'll have a minute here for any questions. Pretty simple system, but yeah, we flew through it there. So if you have any questions, again, jump into the chat. Throw it in there. We will try to address any questions, and if not, we will move on to our next tidbit section that we want to talk about.
Yeah, we might just have to do that, guys. I don't think there's any questions. You guys do a great job. It's amazing how quick the system goes up. Of course, it looks beautiful. It's easy to sell. Like, it's just wonderful what you guys do and show these guys. It's my hat's off to you. Great job, guys, again.
Well, thank you.
Why don't we just jump right in? Is there any more questions? I don't think there is. Is there any Regal rail system? I'm sorry. Is there any Regal rail that complements the crystal rail?
Yes. Well, Crystal Rail actually has its own colored posts as well. The titanium slate does complement it well, but there are posts for Crystal Rail that are the same as the Regal posts, but they're in the Crystal Rail colors. So if you need to end a glass section, or if you want to have a post at the end, then you can use that. Otherwise, the black rail would look great with it, or the titanium slate, like I said, would look really sharp if you were combining. And that's also a great thing that you mentioned, because if you're working within a budget for a client and they can't afford crystal rail for everything, maybe you'd sell them on doing crystal rail across the front where the view is, and then you can take Regal ideas down the sides of the deck where you don't necessarily have a view that you're taking advantage of. So it's a great way to be able to play to somebody's budget to give them a very high-end, classy product within their budget.
I'll address Aaron's question here. Yes, there is an easy way to be able to remove that bulb. The early iterations of the product didn't have this, and then they added it in with the new ones. So the main reason for having this Allen key screw clip here is to unscrew that clip. You can now release this piece of glass, take it out, and you can get at this bulb here. So you have to lift it up, lift that out. You can take out the bulb, and it actually
It's another one of
unscrews.
these connections.
Yeah, it's just another one
It's
of those
just another
guys.
one of these connections that is connecting to the bulb itself. So that way you can take the bulb out and just replace that quick and put it back together.
You can release your bulb from the purpose. The big thing there is to make sure you leave yourself a little bit of slack on the underside.
Yeah.
So when you are pinning up your wires, which we do suggest to staple your wires just to keep them up nice and neat and tidy, but make sure you leave yourself some slack in the joist cavity so that if anything does go wrong, you are able to pull up on that LED bulb and
Yeah, or just like take out one of the staples so that you got your slack back. Or
true that.
Yeah.
But more for a finished ceiling below,
oh yeah.
where that ain't an option.
Mm-mm.
Let's talk telestep, Joe.
Yeah, let's talk about telestep, guys. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for the crystal rail presentation, but I want to jump into something really cool. Everybody stick around for it. Listen to just a couple of minutes. Telescopes. We're the inventor of the telescopic ladder, and we got something special to tell you about today here, guys. You want to show them the tactical, I think you got?
Dave's got the tactical. I've got the standard aluminum. But that's the black tactical. There's two of those bad boys on every Hummer in the American Army because they're cooler than this one. But this one's still pretty cool. Telescopic. Ooh, that's the 12
Oh
footer.
no, one of them didn't go.
Awesome ladders. We have a fleet of them on all of our trucks to make sure that we always have ladders on site. They're nice and compact, so you can throw them into pretty much any size vehicle.
Great
Perfect.
present for Christmas
Just saying.
for your
Well,
father or father-in-law or mother-in-law.
it's a great idea, but I think we're going to give one away here right now.
What?
Ooh, right now.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're going to give away the tactical ladder to the lucky winner.
Andrew P.
Is, oh, I like this name, Joe Fine.
Joe Fine.
Joe, fine.
You jumped in
All
early.
right, Joe Fine.
Jump in and announce
Gotta
it.
like that, Joey, huh?
Yep, another Joe. Power to the Joes.
Congratulations, Joe Fine.
Congratulations.
You won yourself a black tactical ladder.
Hey, but I don't want anybody to dismay because we got some other great special deals here. We got an exclusive offer for Deck Stars. So we got a Deck Star 2020 offer. So there's 20% off for the consumer, but you guys get another 20% off. So that's 40% off.
Oh, generous.
So we're going to let everybody know about this tomorrow. So the first 100 guys who order not only get the 40% off, get free shipping, but also get a Deck Stars bag. So let's make sure you get in there, guys, tonight. Go to telestepsladders.com and get your ladder today.
You're
You'll love
just
these
giving
ladders.
these things away, Joe.
And this is the Deck Stars bag.
We're going to have no money left. This is our last show we're going to be able to do.
This is the Deck Stars bag you talked about. It is carry-on compatible. It has wheels. It has a telescopic pull arm. Very cool bag. We love them.
Absolutely. And we're going to give one of those away too, guys, while we're at it.
My goodness gracious. Also, was that you
And
in that
the
last
lucky-
picture, Joe?
The lucky winner is Tony Gillaby.
Tony.
Tony wins a Deck Stars bag.
Attaboy, Tony. Attaboy.
There we go.
Tony, there he is.
So one other thing, guys, we do have a stick ladder that's also 40% off. Another handy little unit, and it's rated up to 250 pounds. I don't know if you have one there, guys, or not,
Yeah,
but it is another great line of ladders in the Telesteps. Oh, sorry.
No, my wife wouldn't let me take it because I didn't
Ah.
back fast enough last
Fair
time.
enough.
Yeah.
Putting up the Christmas tree, probably.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then another great ladder again, telestepsladders.com. Go there, put in the code DeckStars2020, and you'll get your 40% off, guys. So once again, I want to thank you, but we got one more slide here. Don't forget to join the happy hour December 21st. You can register for that today as well. So make sure you get in for that. We're just going to be talking about the year 2020 and what a crazy year it was, and then talk about what's up for 2021. Be a good time to meet with the ambassadors from Dr. Dex, the Brolaws, Wes Kane, to Chris Palmer, and just chat about the industry itself. So again, thanks to the Brolaws. Thank you so much for doing this. You did a wonderful job again. Maybe a little shout out about your Instagram.
Yeah, so follow us along on Brolaws R Us on Instagram. We've got a podcast called Breakfast with the Brolaws, which we haven't had much time to do more podcasts, but it's there, so you can listen to some of those. We still have our Movember campaign as well going till the end of the month, so if you feel like it, go and donate to that, because one of the people who has donated is going to get a name drawn out, and they will also win a Telesteps ladder.
We have a DeWalt saw that we're giving away for that as well. So we will shamelessly plug this all day. So not if you want to, just go and donate. Go do it. It goes to a fantastic cause. It supports testicular and prostate cancer, as well as men's mental health, which is something that Dave and I are very passionate about, and that we know that Regal Ideas is passionate about as well, about speaking into men's lives, getting them to stand up and speak, to stop the stigma of men feeling like they need to be the masculine presence that never breaks down, that never has any issues. life's hard. 2020 has been even harder.
Mhm.
So men's health is something that is becoming more and more talked about, and Movember has done a fantastic job of really bringing it to light and making it an issue that we can all talk about. So please go and donate. It's a fantastic cause.
Make sure you're taking care of your mental health, but also remember to check in with your friends. I've got a few great friends that know that this is a bit of a hard time of year for me, and they send me messages in the morning just to check in and see how things are going. So if you have a buddy that you haven't heard from in a long time, send them a little note. Just say, hi, how are you doing? And actually ask how they're doing. Enough of this little friendly, hey, how's it going? Oh, good. You busy? Yeah. Oh, we're busy. Let's actually invest in each other's lives and learn more about each other and how we can help support each other.
Guys, that's wonderful. Thanks so much, Dave and Joy. You guys are not only great ambassadors of Regal, you're great ambassadors in the industry. So thank you for saying that. And thanks for all your hard work for the causes you're doing. So thank you. One last thing, folks. If you ever need to get a hold of us, a great way to find us is marketing@regalideas.com. And also you can follow us on Instagram at regalideas or deckstars.regal. Again, want to thank everybody here today. It was great doing this presentation. Guys, it was awesome doing another one with you. Looking forward to our next round in the new year. So with that being said, everybody have a great night. Take care and stay safe.
I think the Telesteps code will be available tomorrow.
Yeah.
Somebody just asked. It's
Martin's already trying to buy some stuff.
the Telesteps
Yeah.
code will work tomorrow, right?
The code is DeckStars2020, and it should work tonight.
Oh, okay.
You can do it today. Yep.
Right.
All right, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye.
Take care.
Thanks, guys. Already did.
The boy part.